Hi friends, it's me Mandy. I wanted to jump on here today to kind of reestablish our Friday habit. I know a lot of people have been asking about the spirit messages, so I wanted to jump on here and talk a bit about that. But I also wanted to jump in because spirit has been incredibly active with me the past week for sure. So part of me is wondering if some of you are noticing some of your own intuition really starting to come online. And though you might be feeling scattered this week, I'd love to know if you're finding that there's just like a more confidence in those niggling feelings that you get about everything going to be okay. There's a huge dichotomy, there's a huge double-sided emotion that is present in general right now that a lot of people are feeling, which is like deep anxiety and worry in flashes where your whole body might get tense for a while. And if you're feeling that kind of squeeze happening right now, this is something that spirit's really been on me about, talking to me about, to not allow your mind to attach a story to it. So the biggest message that I'm getting today isn't from a loved one. I do think there are some loved ones here as well, but I'm going to begin with this message directly from spirit, which is about the squeeze everybody's finding themselves in. So know that I always talk about things being a whole, that things are actually unified, and as low as you can go, as high as you can go, which is why a lot of us who are intuitive or psychic or empathic or clair anything typically have very deep low moments in our lives as well, because that's as high as we can reach, right? And it doesn't mean that we're going to be sitting in suffering for our entire life. It just means that we're being pushed to learn how to see the whole and actually shift the majority of our consciousness into a higher feeling place. But because we are humans, we are going to experience some of those lower emotions. And in the past, definitely this week for sure, there has been a tremendous amount of light coming in, which can cause a very anxious feeling inside of your body, especially if you've been asking for more clarity, more ease, more joy, more happiness, all of those sensations that you want to experience in an enlivened, joyful, happy life. To get there, guys, everything has to be pulled up and out. So a lot of what you might be experiencing, I know this is showing up in my life a lot, is old cycles of challenges inside of my life, like physical, real stuff being like happening again, coming up again, but there's this knowing that it's the last time. And if you can get to that point where you're not clinging on to this story that's telling you, well, you know where this is going. You know what's going to happen now. You know how you're going to be treated now. You know exactly how nobody has integrity, so you know what's going to happen. If you can let that voice kind of settle back into the background of your... Thank you, Terry. Me too, Alyssa. Yesterday was crazy. Like, holy man. Like, yesterday, the anxiety was off the charts. Like, I almost wanted to go look at the Schumann resonance or see if there was a solar flare or something. But it really, like, when I sat with spirit, because I also couldn't sleep last night. So if you're finding that you have a hard time sleeping, sometimes it's just energetic shifting and information coming in. Just open and receive the way that you can. But what spirit said to me, what I was able to channel for myself, which I think is a message for all of us, is that everything that's happening is for closure. And for us to up level where we want to go, as the majority of us who are moving towards wanting a higher experience of life, first all the crud of everything has to come up into the light, which is why there is so many horrendous, heartbreaking things coming up in the news, in globally. I don't like to tap into it too much because I am quite sensitive. So if you find that too, stop watching the news, guys. Like, there's a lot of stuff that is coming up and being squeezed because it has to be purged so we can get to this higher state of consciousness for ourselves, but also a higher state of experiencing life together as a collective, because we aren't very nice to each other because we're not very nice to ourselves. And until all of us are able to kind of move into a space where there's more self-love, more compassion for self, more understanding of self, more allowing of this human shift that's going from really persecution and suffering and oppression into the full experience of creating and manifesting a joyful, synergistic, unified experience on this planet. We're in that in-between phase. So I know I've said this before in other videos, but we all signed up for this, guys. We waited in line to get here because this is a change that has been coming for a long time, and the pandemic has accelerated it significantly because we're not all in each other's spaces anymore. And the amount of uncertainty that is happening right now is allowing everybody to be lifted up and out of their old stories. But this is what's going to show up as anxiety. This is what's going to look like when you look into your life like, oh my God, everything's falling apart. This card, and I know somebody had posted earlier about the Tower card coming up. This card keeps coming up for me too, and it came up today for this specific reading, which is why I'm beginning with this direct message from Spirit, because this is happening and it's okay. All right. This is where we're going. This beautiful, rounded, fertile space, blossoming, wonderful, replenishing. That is where we're going. But right now, all of this is being pulled apart. And you need to remember, guys, especially those of you who read cards or who use cards for yourselves, the Tower definitely strikes fear in my heart for a long time too. But really, when something is crumbling, it's because the foundation wasn't strong enough. So when you completely remove that and rebuild in a more solid way, it won't happen again. But first you have to remove the old structures. And this is the pain and the challenge that we're going through right now. So if you've been finding yourself this week incredibly squeezed, Terry, you didn't get in the wrong line. You wouldn't be here. You have to trust that you chose to be here. If you find yourself really squeezed this week, you got to know you're going to feel like crap. I'm not going to promise you sunshine and roses here, okay? It's going to feel like shit. You're going to feel flattened, and you're going to feel potentially old fears coming up, old memories coming up. You'll be very reactive. You might get triggered quickly, but your only job is to really notice that that's happening and be like, okay, I'm being triggered again. Or get triggered. Do whatever you do when you get triggered, and then reset and allow, okay? Because things are being torn down from a global space, a national space, and a personal spiritual space as well. So that's part of the shift that has been going on. So I wanted to start with that. I haven't really been opening myself up the same way to loved ones who have passed. Because I find when they come forward, it really is a specific message for the person who is listening. What I've been finding has been happening a whole lot is more like the downloads and messages like what I just gave you. So I just want to kind of be clear in this message that when you book a reading with me, it's not specific, it's not mediumship. A lot of what I do is open your chakra channel. Really, I open your energetic space. We merge a little bit. I pull information, I receive information, and there's a healing and a lightening that happens when we come together. So I know some people have been booking and specifically wanting mediumship. I just want to be clear that that is not what happens when you have a reading with me. I do love doing these messages from Spirit because I think it's cool to have people come forward and share information, and often they have very wise words to share because they've lived on this planet, whereas I feel like some of the information I receive from, actually I was connecting with an old guide of mine who I haven't connected with in a few years. They haven't been humans, so they're all like, you can do it, and I'm like, how would you come down here and see how it is? So it's nice to connect with loved ones who have passed because they have that human memory as well. And I already have somebody tapping on my shoulder. I'm getting the name Ron. He is, it might be Roy. Roy. He's got dark hair, fairly tall. Looks like he's about 55 ish. A jokester, awkward man. Passed fairly recently, I'm going to say in the past couple of years. Has a mustache. More gray on his mustache than his head. Super dark hair. So if hi guys. So if anybody can take him so far, Ron or Roy, looks like he's 55, 60, somewhere in there, maybe a little bit older. Clutching his heart, so I'd say there was some kind of heart issue that came along. Ronnie, okay, Anna. Did he pass from some kind of heart condition? Because that really is like he's really holding his chest. He's quite tall. Like I'm gonna say he's probably like 6'3", 6'2". Kind of heavy set, not hugely overweight, but definitely kind of a thick man. Like I said, he's kind of like a jokester, prankster, kind of awkward, didn't know how to read the room very well. He drank too much. Okay. All right. I'm just trying to ask him if he wants to give me more information. He's showing me, interesting, he's showing me a flash between like, it looks like he's holding some kind of tool. I almost wanted to say mechanic, but then he flashed to like a business suit. So maybe he had a hobby of liking to tinker around on stuff. He was a joker, awesome. Oh, that's nice that he had an amazing laugh. He liked to tinker around on cars maybe, but actually was working in a more corporate position or professional position. Okay, and I'm going to ask him if he has a message for you. He's talking about, which this makes zero sense to me, but I'm going to say it. He's saying like put it back in your pocket, or something about in your pocket, that there's something in your pocket. Pull out what's in your pocket. It feels to me like I'm being reminded of like how I always have crystals or rocks in my pocket. So I don't know if you're drawn to, he was a lecturer, okay, cool. Is everybody still there? Sorry, somebody tried to call. If you're drawn to some kind of talisman, or if you're carrying around like a symbol or a healing protection, might be a bracelet, a piece of jewelry, but it's something that has deep, profound meaning to you and is protective, and you're kind of being secretive about it. So I kind of get the sense that he's talking about pushing that forward more, that it's time for you to really like expand that out. And actually that lends to the energy that's in the air right now, because for anybody who has been on the fence about jumping into something, like now's the time. The time is the potential for creation and birthing new ideas just right now. I don't know how long it's going to last. It feels like things are going to get chaotic kind of towards the end of September again. But right now, you can throw your hat in the wind and know that you'll be supported. You carry rose quartz, okay, yeah. So he's saying like bring it into the light, like bring it out, show people, look, I'm holding a little Lemurian seed crystal too. So he's saying like stop keeping it in, like it's time to get this stuff out there, because quite frankly, anybody who's already kind of leaning into leading by intuition, healing, meditation, anybody who's kind of stepping up and into that, guys, we're going to be needed in the next few years, because people are unconsciously being stripped and kind of inundated with these crazy world events that keep popping up on the news. And people who are unconscious don't realize that TV is marketing always, whether it's, and I'm sorry if this does not sit well with somebody who is watching or rewatching the live, but it's called programming for a reason. So when you're unconscious and you just feel thrown around by your life and thrown around by your emotions, and then you also have this channel like constantly telling you all of the shitty things that are happening in the world, it's like being thrown into a dark closet. So those of us who shine light brightly, which Anna, man, girl, you're like a hugely bright light. It's time to get out of that closet, and it's time to let people know, if they need that kind of connection, you're there, whether you charge or not, whether it's your ambition to create a healing practice or offer services that way, or you just need to increase your personal alignment to source so that you can have the ability to share information with others without kind of giving away your power. It's time to do that. So he really is just showing me like you turning your pockets out. So I think this has more to do with the rose quartz. This has to do with your abilities that you're sensing in yourself right now, and taking that leap of faith to move forward into what's coming next for you. And he's saying like he didn't care what people thought of him. He was inspired by the delight that people had inside of them as a spark. And there's part of you as well, Anna, that can connect to people's childlike delight and lift it up and expand it, because you can do that for yourself. So I hope that makes sense to you, Anna. Oh, good. Yeah, he's an interesting character. He did not tell me about the drinking. He just kept pointing to his heart. But I think also, if I'm understanding correctly, the drinking was part of the upbringing. It was part of the family culture and the community that he lived in, and it was the social thing to do. So everywhere he went, people were offering him drinks. So it just became part of his life. Yeah, no, he didn't give a shit. Definitely not. So he's telling you, like, get your gifts out there, girl. It's time. And this, again, like, I'm going to hold this up again, because I know, again, I don't like being told stuff's getting torn down. I actually got a message last night that there's more coming, but don't worry. When Spirit does stuff like that, and you're like, okay. Oh, I've made it this far. I guess I'm gonna be able to keep going. Scottish drinking culture for sure. I love Scotland. But mind the clinging, everybody. Like, this message is for me too. Don't cling to the old crap. Let it flow. Let it just flow right up and out. So if there was any homework I was going to give all of us for the rest of August, and even into the first couple weeks of, we all drink too much. It's drinking times, girl. These are crazy times. No judgment here for drinking. Like, if you need to take the edge off, like, there is a serious edge going on right now. But the practice really, guys, is going to be like what I said before, like, find a way to still your mind. I'm going to start getting probably in every video talking about meditation, because it's time. Like, I know it's not easy. I know your brain won't shut off. I know all those things still happens to me, and I've been practicing on and off since grade 6. But there is a need to unplug completely from technology, guys. It is also a portal and a window, and to allow your spirit to rest, because we are all being overstimulated right now, big time, by all of the stuff that's going on. And it's because of the crumbling. It's because of this card. All right. So it's going to be a wild ride, but it doesn't have to be painful, and it's going to require a lot of trust. And I really do find that the trust comes from stillness, and it's a practice. It really is, and it helps. So there, I'm going to stop lecturing about that now. I think that's probably where I'm going to leave it today, actually, guys, because that's a lot of information. I am actually starting to receive information that it might be time to create a introduction to intuition, or an introduction to psychic ability, or a connection to spirit, kind of little mini connection group. So that's interesting. I'll let you know if any more comes out, because that scares the crap out of me a little bit. And otherwise, I'm here if you have any questions. Hopefully the message at the beginning resonated with you. And if you've joined for the replay, I appreciate you watching all the way through, because I do think that, like, I was kind of being pushed to share this information, because I know I've been struggling this past week for sure, if not the entire month of August, with allowing things to be removed from my life in a way that I didn't expect. So I've had to really sit with releasing any expectation I hold of outcomes. So say that 3 times fast. Releasing expectations of outcomes, because it's when we don't get our way that the suffering begins, right? Or when we think we're being punished. So anyways, I hope you all have a fantastic Friday, and I look forward to connecting over the weekend sometime. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.